Hey everybody. So I had an issue with the truck. Uh, on the, I kind of get a few mixed videos here because one, I'm working on the Trans Am, and so you see that stuff. Kind of hadn't touched it in a week. I had to get some stain on the log house, and I had an issue with the truck that was I was going to let it sit and it was driving me freaking nuts. So I finally came out and hopefully found the problem. So what happened was, we've put 200 miles on this. So the whole story is bought this motor from a guy that had it in a show El Camino, and it was supposed to be, well, it was nice, rebuilt everything. I pulled the intake, looked it all over. It was great. Actually started the motor. It ran fine. So the thing is then, while we're building this truck, this was 14 years ago. So the motor has sat here on a stand for basically 14 years. And as it starts out, once every couple months, I just walk by and put the wrench on the harmonic balancer and spin it. And then that kind of turned into, okay, maybe once a year. Now it's in the corner. Anyway, we put it in the truck. I put the oil pump rod on a drill, ran it up to pressure. Everything's fine. Still looks good. Spins over. Put it in the truck, fired it up. It runs great. It runs good. It's not overcammed or, it just pretty much stock motor. And we've driven it 200 miles. Well, about a week ago, I'm coming back from a car show and it started missing. And I thought, well, okay, I don't know. Usually, I was always concerned because if you look in here, you see how tight the wires are. There just was not as much room as you'd hoped there was. So I put the little heat shields on the plug wires and everything, and that's fine. I've had no issues. But when I jumped out and looked, number 3, I think, had just come loose back there on the HEI stuff. So I was a block from the house. I just went ahead and came home, put that back on. Seems fine. And the thing kind of idles a little rompety anyway. It's loud, it's obnoxious a little bit. But it just started smoking. Smoking bad, like a freaking mosquito truck was running by here. So anyway, where it would have been real easy to pull the valve covers and look or see what the issue was, on this motor to get all this stuff to fit, I had to hand make all my brackets and even the alternator. You can see I can't even get my finger down here. It's so close to the wall. And I had to remake these brackets and push everything up. The AC, same way. I had to hand make all the bracketry down here and move this up because I'm literally a 1/4 inch from the firewall or the inner fender there. And you can see here, this alternator kind of sets over the edge of the valve cover. So while it would have been real easy just to pull the valve cover and look, I didn't do that. And I was trying to decide, with all the smoke, did I suck an intake gasket, or did from sitting, did the valve stem seals just one give out? I don't know. So I was just going to wait because I was, you always think the worst, and I'm thinking it's going to turn into something freaking major. So, and I never heard a sound, and I really couldn't tell that it was obviously still missing. So smoking like a mother. Finally decided to pull that up. Well, before I decided to pull apart, I ran a compression check, and I'm getting, on the first bump of your compression, it'll bump up 2 or 3 times. But I'd hit 120, 130, 150, and then it was hard to get to them because it is so tight back there at the back, and you all know what that's like. So I did all those. The plugs looked good. One was a little darker. The number 3 had a little bit of black on it, and I figured that's because it was just missing for a while. But I finally get to the compression on number 7 on the Chevy. That's back here on the driver's side all the way to the rear. And it does a 120 bump and then nothing. Doesn't build anymore. And which was weird. And I've dealt with motors forever. I've actually never had this happen to me. So it was had to think about it for a minute. So then you do something's not right. My line's kinked. I pulled the little Schrader valve out of the gauge, and I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, well now I'll do a leak down. So I put some air. I put 60 pounds of air in a cylinder in one. It holds it. It bleeds off in 20 seconds. 3, same thing. I put it on 7, and I'm expecting the worst, but it's holding air. It's the same leak down as all the others, but I couldn't get any compression on it. So it'll hold air if I put it in, but it won't compress. And let me re-say that. The first time it comes up on a compression stroke, I got 120, 140, whatever. And I spun it again, and it doesn't bump up like the others do. So I put my thumb over it. And like if you put your thumb over the number 1 on a compression stroke, it blows your thumb off, right? And then it'll do it again the next time around. Well, number 7 poofed my thumb the first time around, and the second time around, it sucked. Like it was pulling a vacuum. Like it was going down, which would be after it fires, after top dead center, and it's going down on like that power stroke. It would be that, except it kept doing that till it got all the way around again, and then I would get one poof if I took my thumb off. Now, I might confuse you there. So anyway, what was happening, I'm like, screw it, I gotta pull apart. So I pull all my brackets, pull the alternator, gotta move all the wiring around, it's a pain in the ass. And I really didn't have a lot of choice. I had to put the alternator where I put it, because I've literally got a 1/4 inch from the fan pulley to the radiator. So it's just packed in there. So anyway, I pull that, and lo and behold, laying right in the valley of the cover is this. Oop. It broke rocker arm. Broke right down the middle, just separated around the ball, and it's just laying there in 3 pieces. Don't know when it happened. It almost appears, because 2 things happened. One, spark plug wire came off. I came on home, and then it's smoking. Well, I didn't notice the smoke till I was home. So I don't know if it was as soon as it quit hitting on number 3 cylinder, it stressed something, or who knows. But it was 2 issues. The one was easy. Spark plug wire came off. Put that back on. And at some point, honestly, it could have been broken even before that, because it didn't rattle. There was no loose rocker arm. And you would think I would notice the miss, but thing's got 10-inch mufflers and kind of rowdy anyway, so I really didn't notice. So I don't know. Anyway, something to keep in mind, because I had never run across that. And what would happen is I would put the compression gauge on, and it would pump once, and then it was pulling a vacuum. And the reason it was pulling a vacuum was the intake on number 7 was broke, the intake valve. So after you hit top dead center, it would blow my thumb off, poof. And then as the piston's going back down, when the intake valve should open, it wasn't opening. So as it's going down, it was sucking my thumb in. And it was confusing as hell. You know, you get older and shit. Anyway, I've never had that happen. I've never had a broken rocker arm just break, where you don't hear it. You know, I've blown motors and you hear that. This, couldn't tell you when it happened, have no clue. And it was a little rough running motor anyway, so never noticed it. I don't know if it happened that day. Don't know if it happened a month ago. There's no telling. But anyway, just something to keep in mind if you're ever in a situation where you can't get your valve cover off right away and easy. That's all it was. I just didn't want to do it because it was a pain in the ass. So anyway, pulled up another rocker arm ball, threw it on there, set the lash on it, and started up, smoked for maybe 10 seconds, and then that was it. So that was the fix. But you know, now when you do things like that, you're almost afraid to frickin' drive them because, anyway, we're going to get out and drive the piss out of it. It's almost winter anyway, so if I'm going to do anything, this would be the time. But we got one more car show coming up the end of the week. And I'm kind of just taking some pictures here because I've got a few requests to take some more shots. And I love these wheels. These were Lexani's, but the only issue I've got is when you stand up and stand back, you don't see the nice red hardware in there in these 3-piece wheels. They buried it when they made these things. So when you back off, they just kind of disappear. And I really wanted that red to show through. I mean, I freaking paid for it, but it doesn't look like the picture we drew up. But at this point, they're custom made, so you're kind of screwed. So anyway, just pointing out a few things. We had switched these doors over to 52 style. These were the turn downs on the 51. Took the vent out, made this all one piece. Had to custom cut glass, and for the most part, you know, you've seen everything. We put the nice Dakota digitals in. I made vents there under the bottom of the dash. I just cut those in and just kind of smoothed everything over in there. Headliner, if you can see, I ended up making that one piece, covered it with perforated vinyl, made that out of ABS. And then here in the back, we ended up just gluing it. I had to go in and smooth the metal and everything, but just gluing that in. And yeah, that was it. Guys, just wanted to see a few more pictures, and so here we go. I had a real nice Willwood booster and master cylinder, and it leaked. Pissed me off. I've never had a problem with an original, so I got an original out of a Corvette, can't remember what year, but I just knew it's what I wanted to work with, and then put this adjustable pro valve in here, and that fixed everything. Worked great. If I can get a little more sun, we'll take some more pictures. Did some things. You know, you do things to these trucks that you spend freaking days working on, and then nobody notices. So you're like, what the hell? It's like all the 4-link and everything, and all the framework, all the welding. I mean, it's beautiful. You crawl under, it looks great, but nobody ever sees it. I take that back. Like I said, it sounds weird, but I like walking back to the truck, go to a show, go for a walk, and then there's guys out there on their knees looking under. They're builders. You can tell that right away, which, that's always fun because plenty of questions, and then that just turns into friendships, and then how we've stayed in contact. So it works great. But there we go. I'll end this for now, and I'll get back to work on the Trans Am. One guy asked me about this bed net. What this was, this is just seatbelt webbing. This is a conduit that just fits right in the original there. And I took another piece, welded nuts into here so you can just screw straight through in it. And I just sat there and did a design till I came up with one I liked, and took it to this lady that has an industrial sewing machine and had her do that because we wanted kind of a neat looking little, pro touring, pro street kind of thing, and just wanted something different. So mission accomplished. I will get back to work. Back to work. See you later.